Are you a humble citizen and one who is ready to serve the people of Zambia?
Costa, I'm just a simple villager. I'm a guy who comes from the floor, and I'm very proud of that. Every Zambian should be proud of their heritage. I come from the floor, went to a village school, Costa, and went to secondary school within the area where God chose that I be born. Very happy and proud of that. Every Zambian should be proud of their heritage. I've said that already. Because that's given by God. No one chooses which parents you should be born out of, which language you should speak. And there's no, by the way, Costa, there's no minority tribe in this country. There's no minority ethnic group. All of them are equal. And I emphasize this issue. So I then went after my secondary school, Costa, all in public schools, no private school. By the way, before the school level, I was born in a grass-thatched house, not in a maternity wing of a hospital or a clinic. In a village, we drew water from a shallow well, walked to school, Costa, barefoot, basically, walked to school. And this is the reason why I'm very passionate about education, so that no other children, whether they're orphans or not, should go through what we went through. Costa, I went to University of Zambia to study economics and business on a government scholarship. Hey, who are we that we seek public office and are not willing to offer education to that child from a compound, or that child who is the double orphan, mother and father are dead? Who are we? Then there's something wrong with us, because we actually ought to make it easier for the children to acquire skills than it was for us. So Costa from there did many things, many things. I bought my first plot, Costa, to construct a house which I could afford at the time, not far from where we're seated, Kalingalinga. You know where Kalingalinga is? Very near your studio here. My second salary, I bought a plot. I could not afford a bricklayer with a team of builders or helpers. I was, in Zambia we call it Daka boy. I was the one pushing a wheelbarrow. Built our first house. Couldn't complete it, sold it at a profit, bought another plot, built, couldn't complete it, Costa. And then I was innovative. Entrepreneurship comes from our heritage, cattle keeping. You can say I was born in a cattle kraal. And I think that's where the business training came from. Later on, it was just to add on. Costa, from there on, I couldn't complete this house. By the way, when I was building Kalingalinga, my fellow classmates from university were laughing at me that I was building a house in the compound. I didn't see why anybody would laugh at me, because I was building a house. They weren't. I was already better. And I had nothing to lose. So this culture, Costa, where people place themselves where they don't belong, is actually wrong. So I went to a company then, those days, and I told them I was going out for studies for a couple of years in Europe, in UK to be specific. And I said to the guys, look, I can't complete this house. Complete it for me. 1 year you don't pay rent. I went away. Cost of the house was completed. When I came back, there was rent in my bank account. After a year, the rest is history. We've worked for ourselves, Costa. We've come from the floor. I'm a grassroots person. I'm just a simple villager. So there's nothing.
Where do all these allegations and clamor come from? Because there is a picture painted that something dubious along the way, or something irregular or unethical was done by HH and group, and this is how this group of young techs who are now, financially powerful, want now to take over the reins of politics and this country's leadership. There's still that gray area that even the likes of the president say, can he explain just how he's one of the top rich guys in this country with ranches that are always flown over to show as an example to the Zambians?
Costa, our situation, my situation must be used positively. It must not be used to ridicule Hakainde. First, the president was out of order, and I challenged him that I'm not a thief. I have no thieving mind in my blood, or thread or iota of a thieving culture in my blood. I challenged the president. I said, Mr. President, if you have a thieving culture, I don't have. And you know this president we're talking about. If I had stolen anything, you know, the other time he said I stole cattle, and I simply said to him, Mr. President, cattle are not like rats. Cattle have owners, right? Human beings who own them. If you steal cattle, you get arrested. In the event you think I stole cattle, why, you are the president, why don't you instruct the police, since you love arresting me
to
anyway?
settle this matter for the sake of the millions watching.
Yes.
Again, I want to take this opportunity for you to explain to them, who are you and this wealth? How has it come off? Would you declare tonight to the Zambians who say, this is what I own and this is how I've owned it?
Well, look, first, the president was being malicious, to be honest. He was abusing a citizen called Hakainde. And he got away with it because the only response he got was, Mr. President, if you think I stole anything, hey, get me into court or detain me. After all, I'm used to being detained by him on flimsy charges. He didn't detain me on that. I can assure you, if I had stolen anything, Costa, I wouldn't be talking to you tonight in this studio. I'll be languishing in cells. Cells which have no water, as he has thrown me in cells several times, without electricity, without food, with fecal matter. But that's a by the way issue. This is the stench in African politics we want to get rid of. To use the president to demean citizens who actually should be used as good examples to motivate the young people. This is what we would like to do, to take out this vindictiveness, to draw the line, to say this is not how you run a country when you are given an opportunity to do that. You should actually try and manage the country differently. Manage the country in a professional manner.
President HH, I want to go to the text messages in putting this matter to rest, because you are in a political ring where your opponents are seemingly glaring or throwing mud about you about something they believe is not right about you. For the sake of a Zambian watching out there who probably wants to put a vote on you, how do you convince them that there's something or everything right about you against these allegations?
Costa, the easiest way is to say, if I was a thief under this president leader, I'm using them synonymous, deliberate, where I get detained even for appearing on a program like this. After this, interview, I know I can be detained. Why has he failed to detain me for his assumption of me having stolen anything? I've challenged him. I've challenged the PF government, and they've fallen flat on this. That should prove to you that there's nothing wrong we've done. Because if there was anything wrong we had done, they would have jumped on it, because they have appetite to lock people like me up. So, hang on, Costa, a little bit. So, Zambians must know that hard work pays, Costa. Opportunity. First opportunity I got, you should ask me the question, is education. I told you I went to school on a government scholarship. That was for me, that was it. And I wasn't looking for any inheritance from anyone. That was enough. Education, I call, Costa, the best equalizer, the best inheritance. And that's why we owe it to our children. From there on, I got a job. I wrote my final exam here, in this university nearby here. On a Friday, Costa. On a Monday, I had a full-time job. Opportunity, which is not available to our youth today under the PF leadership. Even if they were promised more jobs, there are no jobs. Absolutely none. I'm talking of real jobs. I'm not talking of pushing a wheelbarrow to move garbage at a street corner, which PF defines.
Lots of people have criticized the privatization process in this country, especially the mine. It's also from there that we are told you were involved as valuator with